Collective. This is Cancer Capricorn Guidance. Welcome, welcome. I'm Sarah. Obviously, this is Cancer Capricorn Guidance, and I'm here to bring you love, light, and guidance through tarot, astrology, and spirituality. So today I decided that I was going to be doing, like I said in some of the February 2021 readings, those are all out by the way now. Feel free to check those out. I mentioned in those that I was going to do a big February astrology breakdown just to go over some of the transits that are going to be happening. So that's what this video is going to be. And then I was also feeling pulled to do a reading collectively for the Mercury retrograde that is going to be happening on January 30th. So I'm filming this on the 28th and I'll probably post it tomorrow on the 29th. So this will be kind of a collective, you know, some things that are going to be happening to us with these astrological transits and aspects that are going to be occurring in February. And then obviously the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius is going to be happening for half of February. So I thought that would be a good thing to do a spread about. I think I'm going to do each of the elements. So I'll do 4 mini readings for each of the elements. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. Before we get started, of course, in my description box, you can find my email. If you'd like to reach out to me to schedule a personal reading, please feel free to do so. You can also find my Instagram. Feel free to give me a follow. I post a lot of memes. I post spiritual content. I post manifestation tools and nice little mantras, a lot of like mindfulness type of content, and I post a lot of stuff regarding some of the transits that are happening and occurring. So feel free to check out my Instagram. Feel free to give me a follow. You can also find some links to some Spotify playlists in my description box. I post a monthly playlist every month because I make one big playlist for all the stuff that I'm listening to every month. So if you're curious about what I listen to or you're trying to get into some new music, feel free to check out those playlists. You can also find my PayPal link if you would like to donate to this channel. It would mean the world to me, so thank you so much if you choose to do that. So anyway, collective, I just wanted to start with, on January 14th, this past month, I wanted to mention that Uranus went direct. So back in August, it went retrograde, and then just this past month, it went direct. It was going retrograde in Taurus. So I think this was really big for us. This was really huge because I know for me, I looked at it and it lined up with some events happening in my life, but Uranus is the planet of change, initiation, kind of like movement forward in terms of like, how can we handle the bigger changes in our lives? So I think that was this time period of August to now was a really good time to kind of like look back and reflect on a lot of the ways that we are really not prepared for big changes in our lives, or you know, looking at how we can better handle and initiate changes in our lives and not be so hesitant towards them. And now that Uranus is going direct in Taurus, it's coming out of retrograde, I think that we're actually going to start to see some of that action in terms of initiating that change, making that change happen. You know, during that retrograde period, we saw a lot of things in terms of, oh, how are we doing things wrong? How are we going about this wrong? How are we going about change wrong? How are we avoiding or resisting change in some way? And with it going direct, I think we're actually going to start to see some of those changes put into action. I think we're actually going to be start to moving forward and seeing some of that progress in terms of those things. And then of course on January 30th, in a couple days, or today if you're watching this, Mercury is going retrograde in Aquarius. So Aquarius is a sign that's really big about communication, innovation, progress, technology, big picture thinking, community. So I think that we're going to see specifically, this happens a lot during Mercury retrogrades, but I think that we'll specifically see it for this one. We will probably see some technological mini failures or glitches, things that we kind of rely on. They may fall through for us. So it's good to double check, especially in terms of like, because Aquarius is so focused on communication and community. If you're someone that takes public transit, I would double check, triple check things like your bus schedule, your train schedule. I think that there may be some little hiccups in terms of those things. Communication, make sure you double check everything, reread emails before you send them, you know, watch your mouth, watch what you say, watch what text messages you send, watch what you post. There could be little glitches and things like that in terms of communication, technology, things of that nature. But definitely plan ahead, slow down a little bit, look at how you connect to your community. Aquarius is definitely a sign of like someone who, when I think of Aquarius, I think of people who think very communally. They think about things objectively they think very utilitarian like. They think about things for the good of all of us. So I think this is a good time to kind of sit back and reflect on some of those things. How do we connect to our community? How are we in touch with that part of ourselves? How are we helping our community? how are we thriving in those areas, and then what needs work and how we connect to our community. Maybe we're feeling really disconnected from our community. Definitely community relations. I that's a really big theme for this. Yeah, and another big one is check the credibility of the information sources that you're gathering from. Make sure that you're fact checking, make sure that these things are true that you're gathering information from, make sure that the sources are credible and on good standing. If you're trying to gather information or research something, make sure that you're finding valuable, credible information. But again, communal wise, I'm really thinking that in terms of like your close peer groups, your work groups, your family groups, the people that you live with, it's a good time to kind of check in with those relationships, check in with those connections, and see if there is work to be done in terms of how you relate to them, how you connect with them. If you're being a little bit too objective on the Aquarius side, if you're being not personal enough, not interpersonal enough, not emotional and that emotional connection enough. But this is a good time to kind of take a step back and look at things more objectively. How can you be more like an Aquarius? How can you be more objective and broad-minded, and how can you approach things with a more big picture worldview? So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that for Mercury retrograde Aquarius. I think that's going to be a good one. That is what I will be doing the spread on. But first, I want to talk about some other transits that will be happening. So on the February 1st, we have Venus entering Aquarius. So I think this is going to be big about how we expand our interpersonal connections and relationships in terms of letting ourselves and our partners or whoever have the independence, have the freedom, have the uniqueness that we are all, granted to feel, the thing that we all deserve to feel. I think we all deserve a lot of independence and freedom, and I think we're going to be taking a more unconventional approach to some of our interpersonal relationships. Are there ways that we could be granting ourselves and others more freedom and more independence in our close relationships? Are there ways that we can be more appreciative of how our partners and our close people that are close to us are really different from us? Are there ways that we can approach issues in our interpersonal relationships with a much more broad-minded, objective standpoint? Yeah, it's really about allowing yourself and others the freedom, the independence, the ability to be unique and weird like an Aquarius. I think it's taking an unconventional approach to our relationships. We may be entering new relationships that may feel very different than the ones we've been in the past, or we may be expanding our current relationships to allow for more growth and room for more independence or things we haven't tried before. Maybe it's time to take a new approach with your partner and do something a little bit different, or show appreciation for how they are different from you. Maybe you're going to switch up date night a little bit. This also has to do with hobbies and interests. Venus is the planet of interest values. So I think that we're going to be taking a different approach to the things that we love to do. Is there a problem that you've been trying to get at? Is there a way that you can solve it differently? Is there a way you can kind of step back and have a more objective view of it and take a different approach to it? You may be embarking on new interests or hobbies that are very unique or different or very niche or very specific to you, or maybe it's something that you've absolutely never tried before and you're really excited about trying it. This is also a really good time, as well as the new moon in Aquarius on February 11th. There's a lot of Aquarius energy happening in February. This is a really good time to kind of embark on new philanthropic journeys. If there are things that you've been wanting to try in terms of helping out your community or serving your community or volunteering in some way, this is a really good time to kind of try that and try new things. Maybe it's something that you haven't done before, but it could be really beneficial to you and your community, your loved ones, your close ones. And it's really about using your skills of broad-minded thinking and unconventional problem solving to kind of utilize your social networks, utilize the people that you are connected with to kind of tackle a project in a much more group-like manner with a lot of brainstorming, a lot of outside-the-box type thinking. So I think that's going to be a really big theme for not only Venus in Aquarius, but also the new moon Aquarius. So so with the new moon Aquarius, I think this is a really good time to begin new group projects with a very open-minded approach and also a very group-minded approach. If there's people that you really, again, leveraging those social connections, if there's people that you know that you work really well with and there's an idea that you want to bring forward, call on those people to see if they are they have valuable things that they can bring to the table to help you with whatever this is. This is a really good time to not only connect with your community, but build with your community. Again, if there's things that you want to do philanthropically, if there is some charity work or community work that you really want to take on, this is a great time to do that. This is a great time to really connect with people in your community, people in your environment, to really use that group thinking, that outside the box thinking to tackle new ideas or to tackle old problems that you've been kind of working at for a while, but in a new way with a new approach. This Aquarius energy is so beautiful, it's so wonderful, because it really it pushes us to kind of look at things very objectively, to step outside how we usually do things, to look at things not from such a personal attachment view, but from a much more wider perspective of how can I help more people, how can I help the community at large, humanity, etc. And really taking a step back to look at things from a different perspective. Aquarius is really great at looking at things in a very utilitarian way. How can we help the most people? What solution serves the most people, makes the most people happy? So objectivity, really taking an objective approach, a utilitarian approach. This is also a really good time, I think, for a very hopeful, bigger picture vision. I think this is a good time to think big, to let those big ideas fly, to really think in big picture terms, and to really go with whatever vision is really calling you. This is a really good time to look to the future, look how we can be doing things differently moving into the future. And this is a really good time to call on and practice our brotherly, platonic, communal love that we have for each other, and really lean on each other for support and use each other to start and build on really important projects for the good of the community, for the good of the group. So then on February 17th, we have Saturn in Aquarius squaring Uranus in Taurus. I think this is going to be a really interesting square because, again, with all of this energy, all of these planets in Aquarius, with Saturn Aquarius, I think that there's been some steady progress forward with that Aquarius energy, with that big picture thinking, with that group thinking, that brainstorming, that really big, bright vision for the future of how things can really be. And it's really Saturn's trying to move forward with that progress. But with Uranus and Taurus, Taurus is a much more conventional sign. They like to do things a lot more traditionally. And Uranus is that planet of change and movement forward. And so I think there's going to be a lot of tension there in terms of old ideas and new ideas. I think specifically on a collective level, society level, we might start to see some tension in terms of the ideas and the people who want to push things forward into the future, and the people who want to kind of keep things the same and keep doing things in a more traditional way, or the way that things have always been done. But Saturn in Aquarius really wants to push forward and start to do things differently. So I definitely think that there's going to be a clash there. So if this is happening to you in your interpersonal relationships, make sure you check in with yourself and how you can really work together, how you can really use that communal brotherly love to really see eye to eye and to reach agreements, because whether or not you think so, it may be that you're actually trying to reach the same goal. You're just taking, or you have different ideas about the approach that you should take. So this is a good time to kind of sit down with people who may be very different from you, to kind of talk these things out, and to avoid some of that clashing. On February 18th, we have the Sun entering Pisces, so it's giving us a break from all of this objective, detached Aquarius energy, and we're getting back in touch with that more spiritual, emotionally connected, creative, fluid energy that Pisces brings in. I think we'll start to move back into more of that watery energy, that ethereal, spiritual energy, taking a more spiritual approach, or taking the energy of Aquarius season where we're looking at things objectively, communally, big picture, future vision thinking, and we're kind of bringing it back down to earth a little bit and starting to develop that emotional attachment to, again, what is your personal connection to this vision that you have? What does it really truly mean to you and your transformation as a person? Again, Pisces rules the 12th house, the house of transformation and finality and the endings of things. So there may be some endings. This is the end of the zodiac year, and then we'll begin the new year in Aries. But I think that we'll be wrapping some things up in terms of our spiritual journey. I think this is a good time to reflect on how far we've come spiritually, how we can still move forward into the future with those spiritual connections and that big picture universal thinking, not just community, collective thinking, but universal thinking. And I think this is a big theme for yes, it's really important to use that Aquarius energy to think about what's good for humanity, but with Pisces, it's also really good to stay in touch with that. I'm doing this because I really care about it. I'm doing this because I really have love for everyone. I have love for the universe, and I feel that energy of the universe through the things that I do. So I think that's going to be a really nice complement to a lot of the Aquarius energy that we have been feeling and will be feeling this month. And then on the February 20th, we have Mercury going direct in Aquarius. It's coming out of retrograde. So I think it's a good time to be looking at what lessons did we learn and how to approach things differently, how to approach things unconventionally, how to look at things from a much more community aspect in terms of how can we help everyone here, how can we push our vision forward into the future while helping as many people as possible. It's good to have a distant objective perspective sometimes, but it's also good to be emotionally attached to the things that we're doing because we care about them and the problems that we're solving. And it's also a good time to look at what things have we been doing wrong and how can we kind of do things differently now. How can we prevent some of the same mistakes from occurring again? How can we push forward into the future with maintaining some aspects of the traditional ways of doing things, but also really pushing things forward and into the future and doing things in new, innovative ways that we haven't tried before. And then on February 25th, we have Venus entering Pisces. I think this is going to be such beautiful energy. I love when Venus is in Pisces. It feels so natural. It's very loving. It's very romantic. It's very emotional. It's very interpersonal. I think this is a really good time to be open to giving and receiving. This is a good time to be embarking in new connections and new relationships. This is a really good time to get soft and romantic with the people you love. This is a really good time to get in touch with your spiritual self, get in touch with the things you love doing simply because you love doing them, the things that really bring you a lot of emotional and spiritual fulfillment. Get in touch with those things, those hobbies, those activities. This is a good time to kind of, if you were able to, step out in nature and connect with Mother Earth. This is just a really good time to get in touch with that spiritual, creative part of ourselves and to kind of go towards what is intuitively pulling you towards it for whatever reason. And to kind of bask in and embrace the dreaminess, the etherealness, the affection, the romance, all of those things are going to be really lovely and heightened during this time. And then on February 27th, we have a full moon in Virgo. So this is going to be a really interesting full moon. I think this is going to really make us focus on what brings order and routine into our lives, for the good or for not good. I think it's a good time to look at some of the emotional habits that we have kind of clung to and whether or not they're actually serving us or not. You know, Virgo is a sign of routine and really having a tight schedule, and sometimes we have a lot of habits that aren't necessarily good for us, but we do them because they're familiar. This is a good time to kind of take a look at those things and see if they're actually serving us in some way. This is also a good time to look at some things that may be bothering us in terms of imperfections. What imperfections do we feel that we have within ourselves that we beat ourselves up for, that maybe we should be a little bit more gentle with ourselves about? What kind of ridiculous expectations do we set for ourselves and others that we can kind of bring down or just throw away altogether? You know, what little details in your day-to-day are important? Are you spending too much time on, not enough time on? Are there things that you need to give more attention to? Are there details that really don't matter and you're kind of wasting your energy on certain things? And I think also that this is, I know it's a full moon, but I think this is a good time to kind of think of new plans and how you can go about something new with a much more organized approach, with a much more scheduled approach, with a much more analytical approach. Virgos are very good at those things with all that mercurial energy. It's a good time to take a new approach to something with a lot more organization and planning and analysis. So that full moon is going to be really good to make us look at some of those things. So those were some of the aspects and transits that are going to be occurring in February. I just wanted to focus on some of the big ones because I think that the energy of those is really going to be affecting us collectively and maybe on a smaller scale level with each of us individually. But yeah, so that Mercury retrograde, all of that Aquarius energy, but specifically that Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, I want to focus on that, and I'm going to do each of the elements. I'm going to do just a short reading for each of those, just to look at some of the energies that are maybe coming up for you during this Mercury retrograde. And I'm going to start with air signs because it is an Aquarius. So, Aquarius, or air signs, sorry. I'm going to start with an oracle card. Messages for air signs for this Mercury retrograde. Messages for air signs during this Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. I am compassionate, the number 13. I understand how important it is to have compassion, and not just for others, but for myself as well. I forgive myself for the times I may have let myself down. I forgive others for the same. I realize that, like me, everyone is doing the best they know with the tools they have. I am compassionate. That's really beautiful, air signs. I think something that Mercury retrograde might bring up for you is how you haven't been connected to your peers, how you haven't been connected to your community, how you haven't been connected to the people that are like close to you, maybe the people you live with, your family, your friends. I think there's a sense of a lack of compassion that you've been feeling, or a lack of forgiveness that you've had for yourself because of a certain detachment that you've been feeling from the people in your environment. I feel like a lot of air sign energy lately has been like almost a detachment from their friends, a detachment from their family members, a detachment from the people in their environment, their community. And I think it's important to have compassion for yourself and others during this time to really reconnect with those people, because I think they may be missing you and calling for you. And I think that your beautiful air sign energy, your ability to problem solve and communicate may be really needed at this time, to really help and embark on some of those philanthropic missions I mentioned. Maybe there's some work in your community that you can do. This compassion energy is really yelling at me in terms of like, I think that there's something that you can do in your immediate environment, in your community, in your neighborhood to really help others. So I think this is a good time to kind of maybe look at that in ways that you haven't been connected to that, ways that you haven't been doing that, ways that you haven't been compassionate enough for other people. Maybe you've been a little bit dismissive or not understanding enough with the people around you. This is a time to check in with yourself and see how you can be a little bit more compassionate and understanding towards the people around you. So, air signs. Any messages for air signs for this Mercury retrograde in Aquarius? Whoa. Any messages for air signs? Any other messages for air signs during this Mercury retrograde in Aquarius? Any other messages for air signs during this Mercury retrograde in Aquarius? That's too many. Any other messages for air signs during this Mercury retrograde in Aquarius? Okay. Air signs, we have the 5 of Cups, the Judgment, the 5 of Swords, and the 4 of Pentacles. I'm feeling like there's something that you've been working on getting over. I feel like there's something that you've been really sorrowful about, something that you've been really mourning. There's some kind of loss here, or even in terms of maybe there's a way that you've been really feeling sorry for yourself. I'm getting a lot of that energy where you've been kind of checked out and disconnected from the people you care about, and it's because you're going through something, or because you have kind of disconnected from the people that you care about. You feel really bad about it. You feel sorrowful. You feel that there's some kind of loss here. I'm just getting a lot of disconnected energy, emotionally disconnected from the people around you. And with the Judgment card here, I feel like that there's something, some kind of event or something that's going to be coming in that kind of stirs things up and makes you realize something. I'm seeing like Judgment, there's some kind of universal intervention here where you're sitting here in your sadness about missing someone, or feeling the loss of someone, or feeling sorrowful about something, feeling sorry for yourself that you haven't been a good friend, feeling sorry that you've been disconnected from the people that you really care about. And I think that there's going to be some kind of universal intervention where an event happens, maybe Mercury going retrograde, that's going to make you realize that you really want to make amends with the people around you. You don't want there to be that kind of like tension and arguing. You kind of want to let that shit go. You kind of want to let those grudges go. Maybe you've been holding on to a grudge a little bit. You've been sitting in your sorrow, and you yourself haven't been reaching out to people, and maybe that's why there's been that disconnect, and there's a need for you to reconnect with them in some way. Kind of put the swords down and approach them and say, hey, I'm sorry, I haven't been connected to you like as much as I should have been. It's because I've been guarded. It's because I've been trying to protect my energy. It's because I've been going through some shit. I've been really just trying to build myself back up again, keep myself in check, you know, take care of my money, get grounded, get back into my security, and like get on my own 2 feet. And I feel like there's just some kind of, the Judgment, it's just some kind of calling that's pulling you towards like approaching these people and apologizing, or having a conversation, or, you know, opening up a dialogue to say like, hey, I'm sorry I have been kind of distant. I'm sorry that, you know, we've kind of fell out of touch. I haven't been doing well, and it's making me sad that we're not in touch anymore. So I'm gonna come forward and be the change that I want to see in this. And I'm seeing that there's definitely still an energy of like wanting to protect yourself, and maybe that's why you've been avoiding this confrontation. Maybe there's a confrontation that needs to be had and you're avoiding it because you're very hesitant and fearful and anxious about what's going to come from it. But when it finally does happen, it feels like such a big deal. And then you're like, oh, it wasn't such a big deal. They don't feel that animosity towards me like I thought they did. You know, I thought they were going to be really angry with me and not want to hear from me or speak to me at all, and that's why we haven't been in contact. But it's like, no, like I've been missing you, and I don't want this tension. I don't want to argue with you. I don't want there to be this lack of communication between us. I don't want there to be this miscommunication between us. I want to reconnect with you. And so this big bad scary confrontation that's been needing to happen, it's not as bad as you thought it was going to be. It's just that you've been kind of in your bag and dealing with something, kind of getting over something, and something's pulling you to kind of approach the situation, or maybe this person kind of comes to and approaches you. But I think it's maybe both of you have been feeling kind of guarded, feeling kind of protective. You've been kind of distant because you need to protect yourself. You feel like you need to protect your energy. You need to get back grounded again. You need to get back on your feet and gain some security. But there's definitely like a feeling of feeling disconnected from people in your environment and feeling very anxious about what's going to come when you finally have that confrontation after a long time. Maybe you haven't spoken to certain people in a long time. And you're both kind of feeling in this place of feeling guarded. But this, I don't want to keep saying confrontation, but this conversation needs to happen. I think that there's something that's going to pull you to have this conversation, and the tension is kind of melt away because both of you kind of miss each other, and both of you were kind of in a place of guarded and protecting yourself and not reaching out for whatever reason. But I think it's time to finally let that shit go and reconnect with these people, and to allow yourself the compassion that, you know, you haven't done the best you could, and also have compassion for this other person that they weren't able to, you know, reach out to you and do the best that they could for you. So I'm gonna leave it at that. That was really beautiful, air signs. I hope that this is resolved. I hope that you take the time and energy to approach the situation and resolve it, because I think it's worth resolving. But thank you for watching, air signs, and I will see you in the next reading. Happy Mercury retrograde. Hi, earth signs. How are y'all doing? This is going to be just a quick reading for the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius for y'all. Any messages for earth signs here for the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius? Any messages for earth signs here for the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius? I got 2. I am passionate and I am capable. I put my entire heart into the people and things I believe in. My passion is a powerful force. It is an eternal fuel. I recognize the strength of my passion, and therefore I am careful where I choose to focus it. I am passionate. I am capable. Obstacles are only as large as I believe them to be. I can achieve anything I desire with comfort and ease. I have all the necessary tools to reach my goals. When I lead with positivity and love, helpful people show up to aid my endeavors. I am capable. It's the number 10 and the number 8. So earth signs, I feel like there's something that some kind of project or goal that you have begun to work towards. And it has something to do with something that you're really passionate about, but also something that you feel a little bit insecure in whether or not you are capable of achieving this. There's something here with like a project that you want to take on that you're really passionate about. But you're feeling a little bit like, am I capable? Can I do this? Do I have the drive and the passion? Do I have all the tools that I need? Am I able to do this? Any messages for earth sign for this Mercury retrograde in Aquarius? Any messages for earth signs for this Mercury retrograde in Aquarius? Messages for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn? Any messages for earth signs for this Mercury retrograde in Aquarius? Any messages for earth signs? Earth signs. Any messages for earth signs? Interesting. Okay, earth signs. This may not be about a project, but about a connection. We have the Lovers, the Queen of Cups, the Four of Wands reverse, the Star, and the Knight of Cups reverse. I'm feeling like there's a connection that you feel very strongly about. The Queen of Cups here could be you or someone else. I feel like you feel very emotionally grounded at this time, and you've kind of encountered this new connection that feels really good, really joyful and abundant. But I think that you may be a little bit worried about the stability that's going to bring, a little bit like, you know, maybe this isn't my future spouse, but I kind of want to embark on it anyway because it feels really hopeful. And I think there's something here with you Earth signs where you're kind of throwing out the whole, I need to know this entire path from start to finish. I need to know every step of this way. I need to know and be certain of the security that this is going to bring me. But I think you're kind of throwing that idea out the window. I think you're kind of taking an approach where you're like, you know what? I don't really care what the future holds. I don't really care what happens. You know, I don't really care if this is going to bring me stability. I don't care if this person is my future spouse. You know, this is my end all be all. I feel really hopeful about this because I know in my heart that I am capable, and I am capable of having these passionate connections. Like, I feel this connection with this person and it feels so good, and I feel like I'm in a place where I'm very emotionally grounded and ready for something like this. Even if it's not, you know, happily ever after, you know, I'm still feeling really hopeful about it because it's giving me hope that I still have that love within me. Like, I'm still capable of loving in the end. You may not be approaching this connection. There may be a hesitancy towards approaching this connection, or the other person may be really hesitant to move towards you. But if that is the case, I feel like you are in a really good place where you feel this connection and you feel emotionally grounded. So maybe this person is a little bit hesitant because they're not sure if you're there yet, but if you let them know, then I think everything will be good to go. I think there's a part of you that still feels hesitant, but at the same time you feel very hopeful. And I feel like maybe you're just like, this feels really good, but I'm not ready to quite approach it yet. I'm not ready to make an offer yet. I'm just going to enjoy the feeling while it lasts. I'm going to enjoy this connection. I'm going to enjoy all the emotional fulfillment that it's bringing me. I feel like you feel very hopeful and optimistic about this, despite whatever outcome is going to come out of this. I think this whole I am passionate, I am capable is like, I'm capable of having a passionate connection. I am capable of being in a relationship. I am capable of finding love and connection. I'm not super concerned with the outcome of the situation right now. I'm not super intent on this needs to be my husband. I need to settle down with this person. I think it's like you feel good about this connection. You feel grounded in it. You're not sure of the future, but that's okay. You're feeling really hopeful and optimistic. You're not ready to make a move. You're not ready to embark on this new journey yet, but you're going to take it slow, I feel like. I feel like there's an energy of wanting to take it slow and just being hopeful and feeling grounded in that energy of like, look at me, like I'm capable of having this nice connection with someone. I'm capable of feeling these feelings. You know, my heart is still in my chest. It still beats. I'm still capable of feeling that love, feeling that connection with someone else. So that's really beautiful, Earth signs. I'm going to leave it at that. I think this Mercury retrograde for you might bring up some things where it comes up as doubt about a new connection that you're kind of embarking on. There may be some things that come up in terms of like, oh, I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know if this person feels this way about me. I feel a little bit insecure about this. I don't know if I'm grounded or ready for this. But I think there's a sense of you that's going to come out of this with a lot more hope because you looked at the connection during this Mercury retrograde with a very analytical view of, you know, I'm capable of doing these things. I'm capable of embarking on these kinds of relationships, and I'm worthy of them too. I have what I need. You know, I have it within me to be a good partner, be a good lover, and I deserve the kind of happiness that I'm seeking. So, Earth signs, I'm going to leave it at that. This was really beautiful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next reading. Happy Mercury retrograde. Hi, fire signs. How are y'all doing? This is going to be your brief little reading for the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. So, any first messages for the fire signs for Mercury retrograde in Aquarius? Any messages for the fire signs? I am ambitious, the number 29. I put my goals and ideas into action. I take a leap of faith and I believe in myself. When I put my heart's desires into action, it is for the good of all those involved. I am ambitious. For some reason, I'm getting a lot of the Leo full moon energy, which is today on the day that I'm filming this. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of this Leo full moon is going to boost you forward and make you feel really good. And then maybe with the Mercury retrograde, it's going to push you back a little bit and make you have to rethink some of your plans, make you rethink your approach to whatever it is that you're feeling really ambitious about, whatever this new project you're embarking on is, or a goal that you set for yourself. I think the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius is going to make you look at like, okay, what is the purpose of what I'm doing? Why am I doing this? Is it for the good of others? Is it for the good of me? I'm just getting a lot of Leo full moon energy with that I am ambitious card. But I do really like that energy. I think that you're kind of trudging forward and starting to feel really good about the projects that you're taking on during all this Aquarius energy season. Yeah, but this Mercury retrograde, it might make you feel like you're set back a little bit. It may bring down your ambition a little bit. It may pull it back and make you feel a little sluggish or like you can't move forward just yet. But this may be a good time to look at the details of the project you're taking on and what you feel ambitious about, and like, you know, maybe sit down and plan it a little bit, like plan the actual vision of it, you know, create a vision board, kind of organize this ambition you have for whatever this project or goal is that you're taking on. The ambition is good. The Mercury retrograde might pull it back a little bit, but that ambition is good. Don't lose that. So fire signs. Any messages here for fire signs for the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius? Any messages for fire signs for the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius? Any messages for fire signs for this Mercury retrograde in Aquarius? Any messages for fire signs during this Mercury retrograde Aquarius? Any messages for fire signs? Interesting, fire signs. Okay, so you may be feeling a little out of whack right now with this Two of Pentacles reverse. I'm feeling like you may be feeling very ambitious, like you have a lot of ambitious energy right now, but the Two of Pentacles reverse is telling you that you're a little bit disorganized and you may need some reprioritization. Like I was saying, you may need to organize some of this ambition. You may need to, you know, create a vision board, create like an actual plan, a step-by-step plan or a goal for however you're trying to reach this. I'm just getting like, maybe you're feeling ungrounded or not in the best place of like financial or materialist security right now. Like this new thing that you're going to be embarking on, it may bring in some financial insecurity for you. But with this Queen of Cups here, I'm feeling like you're like, I don't care. I feel good about this. I feel grounded in this. I feel emotionally good about this. I feel emotionally attached to this. I feel like I'm very passionate about this, and that's all that really matters right now. I don't care that it might cause some rocky ground. It might knock me off my feet a little bit, but it's because that's the rocky road to get to this thing this goal that I have set for myself. I'm feeling like you may be feeling materially not grounded right now, but emotionally you're very grounded. You're in your intuitive headspace. You're in a very nurturing space. So I feel like you're emotionally in a really good place. And that's making you feel good about this thing that you have the ambition towards. Even if it's not going to provide the best of the material stability that you might need. I'm feeling like you're feeling ungrounded right now, but there's some really great emotional energy coming in that's kind of making you let down your guard. You're feeling a lot more emotionally vulnerable and open, maybe not just with others, but with yourself. You feel a lot more in tune with your emotional self, with your heart, and you're kind of starting to listen to yourself, and I feel like you're letting down this, like, you're letting down your guard in some way. You're letting down this fight. You've kind of maybe been resisting getting in touch with that emotional part of yourself, but I think now is the time that you're going to start to kind of let down your guard and really get in touch with that part of yourself. I think the Mercury retrograde is just going to make you look at some emotional parts of yourself that you've been avoiding a little bit. Yeah, I feel like there was some resistance here, but you're starting to let that down. You're starting to really get in touch with that emotional part of yourself. And with the Lovers reversed, it's either going to make you realize what you're really not connected to. Maybe you're feeling ambitious about taking on a new journey on a different career path, and it's making you realize that whatever you're doing now is something that you really don't value, something that you really don't feel connected to emotionally, something that you really don't feel passionately connected to, something that isn't aligned with your values and who you are. I'm seeing that you're feeling unbalanced right now, but because you start to let your guard down and stop resisting you getting in touch with your emotional self, because you're starting to, you know, tap into that intuitive emotional part of yourself, you're realizing what isn't good for you, what doesn't feel in alignment with you anymore, and you may be cutting it out to go pursue something else. This could be relationship wise as well. But I'm seeing also that you feel a little bit ungrounded right now. You feel emotionally good. You feel emotionally good right now, but you're too focused on getting your shit together and getting your stability in order to be focused on love and relationships. I'm also seeing that. Maybe you've been fighting really hard to like find someone or meet someone or make a connection with someone or make a relationship work. And I'm seeing that you're realizing that it's not worth your fight anymore. You would much rather focus on, you know, getting your stability back and focusing on the ambition you have towards some kind of work-related project or something. And so love is kind of off the table for you right now. I'm getting a little bit of that. But either way, I feel like because you're in a place that's not providing the most stability right now, when you get in touch with your emotions, when you start to let your guard down and stop resisting, you know, tapping into that emotional part of yourself, you're going to realize what isn't for you and what isn't serving you, and maybe even start to let go of some of those things. And I'm seeing this ambition because I feel like you're very ambitious to get your shit together. You're ambitious to kind of pursue this project. You're ambitious to find your stability. You're ambitious to make things right, to find that stability, to kind of get things grounded again, to find what really makes you feel good, to find what is in alignment with you. And so I think this is really about believing in yourself, taking a leap of faith in terms of whatever this is that you want to pursue. This could be a lot of different things, but I really like this reading, fire signs. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next reading. Happy Mercury retrograde. Hi, water signs. Last but not least, how are y'all doing? This is going to be a quick Mercury retrograde reading for y'all. So first, I'm just going to pull a oracle card. I am strong, the number 19. I am stronger than I think I am. I reject victimhood. My strength is in knowing that all circumstances are temporary. I focus my attention on what's in front of me. I naturally move forward into new phases of life. I am strong. I feel like that's really connected with some of the water sign readings I did in like December and January, and maybe even some of the February readings. Feel free to check out the February readings, by the way. Those are all out. I'm feeling like water signs, that's been a big theme that's been coming up in a lot of your readings, and I think it's a big cycle that you've been kind of maybe gearing up towards the end of. You're starting to really realize how strong you are, how much strength you have, how much you've made it through. You're not a victim, and you're rejecting that idea altogether. And I think that recently you've been through so much, but now you're really coming out on the other side, ready to take on, you know, new phases of life. I think a lot of water signs in the last couple months have wrapped up some pretty big cycles that have to do with a lot of like, you know, emotional karma, and some big karmic cycles. But I'm feeling like the I am strong is like, you're like ready to take on the new. You're ready to embark on new cycles and new phases of life because you have this newfound strength and wisdom and like all the things that you gained from like what you learned from those really powerful cycles. So water signs, let's see what's up for y'all. Okay, the sun, you're feeling happy. You feel really joyful. You're feeling really excited and optimistic about what's to come. You're really ready to embark on new journeys of life. You're feeling very youthful again. Interesting. Judgment. Any other messages for water signs here for Mercury retrograde? Any other messages here for water signs for the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius? Any other messages here for Mercury retrograde Aquarius for water signs? Any other messages here for Mercury retrograde Aquarius for water signs? Any other messages for water signs? Woo! Okay, wow. Water signs, the Sun, Judgment, King of Pentacles, and the Chariot. Wow. Water signs, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. I feel like you're in a really good place right now. You're feeling really high vibes. You're feeling like refreshed and renewed. You're feeling really excited and joyful again because you're ready to embark on this new journey. And damn, are you ready to go? I feel like the Judgment and the King of Pentacles is you saying like, I decide, I'm making a decision right here and now. I'm taking the initiative and the autonomy to make decisions in my life for myself. And what I'm doing is I'm about to chase that security. I'm about to chase my bag. I'm about to get my shit together and get my money up. I'm about to go find things that make me feel stable and secure. I'm about to go find the things that make me feel powerful. I'm about to go chase the things and pursue the things that make me feel powerful and in control. Because you're so ready to go with this Chariot. Oh my God, water signs, You're ready to like go. You're ready to move forward. You're ready to move on with your life. You're ready to embark in the new. You feel really happy, energetic, youthful, enlightened, lighthearted, carefree, and you're ready to kind of embark on these new journeys. And I think it starts with you deciding, like, this is me making a decision to prioritize my security, my happiness, do things that make me feel empowered, do things that make me feel like I'm in control and I'm the one steering the ship. I reject victimhood. I reject victimhood. I am strong. There's a lot of strength energy here. I am strong. I'm independent. I can provide everything that I need for myself, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get what I need. I'm going to go find what I need. I'm feeling really happy right now. I'm going to continue to chase that. I'm going to continue to go find that, and I'm ready to go. You're ready to go at the speed of light towards whatever these things are that you're chasing. And I'm seeing it's a lot of things that make you feel really secure, stable, powerful, in control. You're ready to like be the leader of your own life is a lot of what I'm getting. Because you're ready to make these decisions for yourself, and you're ready to go find these things that make you happy, make you feel stable, things that make you feel in control. You're ready to just shoot forward and really progress. You're ready to move on with your life. You're ready for the next phase. You're just ready. Water signs, that was really brief, but really self-explanatory. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next reading, and happy Mercury retrograde. If you're one of those people who watches all the way to the end, thank you so much. In my description box, if you want to schedule a personal reading with me, please do so. My email is right down below. Shoot me an email. We can set something up. You can also find my Instagram. Feel free to give me a follow. You can find some links to some Spotify playlists, and you can find my PayPal link. Thank you all so much for watching. Happy Mercury retrograde, and I will see you in the next reading.